You ask me what I'm sipping on and what are my dreams, yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, honey.
Bonjour. Welcome to Max's Cognac Review. Thanks for joining me. Today, I'll be reviewing the Martell Swift. Martell has been around since 1715, and it's not only one of the oldest cognac houses, it's also one of the biggest. Out of the big four, this is probably my favorite cognac house. When you're producing a lot of cognac, it's hard to keep up with quality, and I feel like Martell does a fairly good job, a very good job of accomplishing that. So without further ado, I'm going to give it a nose, let you know what I think. So the Martell Swift Blue is a little different than their typical cognacs, as it's aged in bourbon casks. So typically a cognac is aged in fresh Limousin oak. This one being an ex-bourbon, probably have a little bit of a bourbon flavor nose to it, I'm not sure. I'm gonna give it a try, let you know what I think. Fresh apples, a little bit of vanilla. There is some spice there, but a lot of fresh fruit, a little bit of dried fruit, a lot of fresh apples, toasted apples, and a hint of I'd almost say a hint of leather. I'm gonna give it a taste, let you know what I think. Fresh fruit, the fresh apples again. It's got a pretty long finish. There's a little bit of spice on the initial taste, but it's fairly smooth. It doesn't taste like a bourbon, but you definitely get a little bit of that oaky vanilla, and just a tad of sweetness. So I think this is definitely a little different than your typical VSOP or entry-level cognac from Martell. For me, it's a little drier, a little more pale than their VSOP. If you're looking for something that's similar to a whiskey or a scotch or a bourbon, I think you'd really like this. It has a few of those bourbon elements to it, but if you're in the mood for maybe a softer, sweeter cognac, I definitely recommend the standard VSOP. The standard VSOP has a little more character to it, I would say, and it is definitely lacking the alcohol that this one has. But the Martell Swift is a little bit drier and a little bit paler than the typical VSOP. If you want something that has that edge to it, like a whiskey, I think you'd enjoy this a lot. If you're looking for something a little bit softer, a little sweeter, then I think you'd be happier with the standard Martell, the regular VSOP and up. That being said, this is a great option, very affordable. I believe it was about 35 US, and I definitely recommend giving it a try, especially if you're a whiskey drinker. Until next time, cheers.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, honey, it's only one thing. I'm sipping crystal.